Hello, this is Alpha. There's an individual named Andy Cortez who wrote an article about Smash JT and the whole entire Dragon Age saga. I don't know if he wrote the article about Smash JT, but he wrote the article about Dragon Age, insinuating certain things about gamers and stuff like that, with the aura of the Gamergate controversy behind it. But this individual freaking wrote obfuscations and, of course, blamed people using hasty generalizations as the means and reason why that they don't like the particular Dragon Age game. And I'm using this gameplay to illustrate that point quite well, because this is an old retro game from the 1990s that features characters of the impact of what he says. So we're going to go through and illustrate his claims. I'm going to choose the character Jax here to illustrate that point. So we're going to go through here, select Jax, there we go. Because again, he made claims that this person doesn't even exist, even though he's a relic from the 1990s. So we're just going to do the Nova test, because this game is extremely hard in its original arcade mode. So I'm not going to really do much here, and with the controller, because I had to bust out the old PS1 controller and the PS1 unit to play this game. And let me tell you that the controllers are not that well up to snuff, as you can see. I mean, I'd just rather play it on an emulator, but I'm capturing it from my capture card on my PS1, and trust me, the controls are brutal. But anyways, he made the claim that black people, minorities, and other such people weren't depicted or did not partake in games at that time, which is a complete falsehood. As you can see, I'm playing with Jax here, who is next to Barrett from Final Fantasy VII, is some of the oldest characters in games. But anyways, that without speaking is irrelevant to the point. What we're talking about here is that his hasty generalization and blaming everything on racism and using it as a blanket term and a dumping grounds for all of his grievances is quite a misstatement, because the fact is that there are many instances of minority, black, Asian, and women characters. Going all the way back to Metroid is a woman character. You have Jax, Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. You have a bunch of them that have always been there. So his claim of lack of diversity is a straw man argument, hasty generalization, demonization, because he's trying to use this argument of diversity as a masquerade or a masquerovka for his own racism which is the target of his own vitriol, which is white people in general. So what he's claiming is that the white demons that controlled the video game industry never let him into it, even though he apparently is some form of Hispanic. But the fact is that as you can see, these people do exist. Historically, you have Japanese game, which is a culture of entirely non-white people that freaking pioneered the entire video game industry and made it popular to begin with. Like Super Mario Brothers was designed by a Japanese guy. That is not a white person. You had Legend of Zelda, which was developed by person who was not white. You had Monster Hunter on PS2, which was designed by Capcom, which again was another Japanese person who was not white. You had Metroid, which is a Nintendo game, which was designed by Nintendo's first division, or the first division, which was their core library, who in 1984, which was a female character who was not, who was designed by Japanese people. So this claim that white people dominated the industry only pertains to Western studios, not Japanese studios and stuff like that. So hasty generalization of the entire domain of video games is an outright obfuscation and can be considered a malicious lie to formulate his own innate racism targeting the people that he does not like, which is, of course, the plurality of white people in the industry, which he routinely demonizes through this argument by claiming that they had supremacy in an era which was not present. They were not supreme in that era. I mean, maybe Activision and these companies, but conversely, Japanese companies and such like that also dominated the market to a larger degree. So his argumentation is outright fallacious to begin with, and Johnny Cage is absolutely pounding me into the ground because this game is absolutely hard. But anyways, as I was saying, that the nature of his argument revolves around largely projecting his own racism onto others and saying that they're doing the racism. It's George Vaillant again. I like to quote that guy a lot, but it's George Vaillant's projection denial theories as the psychosocial defense mechanisms, because he knows that being racist is unpopular, but he's making racist arguments. So he's going to freaking switch the little hats there and say, no, you're the racist, I'm the good guy, freaking my culture is supreme, obey me, is what he's saying, which is an entirely racist argument to begin with. The white people are bad, and the oppressor are the minorities, and that's why the minorities need to oppress all the other people, because it's a revenge fantasy where freaking he wants to be the racist now for perceived historical injustices that never occurred. Which, of course, if you think about it, is a psychotic argument. But even at that, brutality. Johnny is so good when he's run by the computer. You know, this game's AI is absolutely unfair in the second round and is just designed to destroy you at all costs. But anyways, yeah, so the projection and denial that this person is doing is off the chart. And he wrote it. He did an entire video article on this, just constantly blaming people for the things that he believes he's been cheated of, the things that believes that he's entitled to, because not only is his racial remarks of supremacy outlandish into that, the level of entitlement that he exudes is also as egregious, because this is a person that believes that he's entitled to things. He believes that the world owes him things. He believes that the world owes him things. Like, do you think I'm entitled to beat Johnny Cage here? No, I have to be better than the computer, which obviously I'm not, because I haven't played this game in 20 years. I mean, I played the modern versions of it, but this is the original version, and this game is brutally hard. It's based off an arcade game that is meant to steal your money. This game only wants to take your quarters. That's why I'm getting freaking pounded by Johnny Cage over and over and over again, because this game is absolutely unfair. Just like the way that this guy perceives that life is unfair to him because of the color of his skin, which is absurd. It's not the game that's the problem, it's the player. He's playing the game of race, and he's losing because he's being an absolute asshole about it. He's being insufferable, and he thinks that the world should give him something because he exists as a thing, and not because he's good at anything, not because he's decent at anything. If this is reflected in the studio, freaking that studio requires an amount of money to maintain. I mean, the headphones that he wears are expensive headphones. I looked at them. They're expensive. Even Hypnotic pointed out the model as being egregiously expensive. That freaking that table that he's sitting at is a fancy table that looks like it would be about as expensive as the presidential table in the White House. And the background that he's using is a sophisticated 3D model, which I assume the animation on that is not cheap, because 3D animation is inherently expensive. I do 3D modeling all the time. It takes a long time to do, and it takes a lot of skill. I use 3D modeling for my comic books and my illustrations and stuff like that. It's not a simple thing to do. It's actually quite complex. But even at that, The level of entitlement that this person has is off the chart. He thinks the world owes him something. He thinks he's deserving. He thinks that freaking he exists as this particular person, so he should be given something, like the way that the sponsors gave him that studio, the way that the sponsors gave him that table, the microphone. His entire existence is based on money, and with the current economic change in the pulling back of money, he's seeing that money vanish. It's being taken like a fart in the wind, and he's panicking. So he's taking the most convenient excuse, and that's to blame the world for his failures. And what's the most easy thing? It's because I'm this, I look like that, I look like this things. All the superficial reasons in the world to explain why you're wrong. The persecution of being this, the persecution of being whatever, wherever you live, the persecution of being a thing and not being the product you produce. Thank you. This is Alpha. Have a nice day.